Here we go.
Perfect.
Hello, everybody. My name is Corey, and you're listening to The Story with Corey. Today we have on a super awesome guest, Maggie Marre. She is a 19-year-old singer-songwriter from Reading, Pennsylvania, and a student at Berklee College of Music. Her music blends indie pop with honest, diary-style lyrics about everything from daydreams to self-doubt. She started writing songs during the quiet days of the pandemic and hasn't stopped since. Maggie recently released her debut EP, Miss Paranoia, a collection of songs that captures the highs and lows of growing up. Along the way, she's been a finalist in the Women Who Rock songwriting competition, won the Judges' Choice Award at the Central PA Music Hall of Fame Youth Showcase, and opened for international act Minor Gold. Inspired by artists like Taylor Swift and Gracie Abrams, Maggie continues to write to connect with herself and with anyone who's ever felt a little too much. Maggie, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming down.
Of course.
It's a bit of a drive from Reading.
It is, but it was a nice drive. A lot of construction.
Shorter drive than it is to Berklee, I'm sure.
It's a much shorter drive, and that drive is quite the journey with the driving
6 hours,
up there.
isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
I've
It's a
done
long
that
6
drive
hours
before.
with my dad driving too. It's always a long trip.
So, where did music begin for you? Where was your first love?
Yeah. I always loved music. I always loved singing, and I always loved writing, but it's like two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never ever sing in front of anyone. I would stay in my room. I had up until a few years ago the worst stage fright ever.
Really?
Yes, that's been a big part of my journey. But yeah, I would sing in my room with like a cover over my head so nobody could hear. And yeah, if I thought I heard my mom coming by, like I would stop. And yeah, so I always was singing. I was always writing. I think I wanted to be an author at some point. But it wasn't up until a few years ago. I mean, I was in and out of voice lessons and choir and local things, but it wasn't until the pandemic hit where I remember we were actually watching Taylor Swift's documentary, Miss Americana.
Really?
Yes. It was really inspiring, and I literally...
must be a Swiftie.
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. You have to be. When you're from Reading, you're a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, it's kind of why I'm missing is right there.
She's just amazing in general. Mm-hmm. But... yeah, I was watching that documentary with my parents, and they had always wanted me to do music. They had always, liked the songs I wrote and believed in me and been super supportive. But
it's always nice.
It's amazing, and I really do cherish that because I know it's not always the case. But I watched this documentary, and I came to my mom, who had been telling me to pursue music for years, and I was like, I have to do it. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to do what she does. I want to connect with the people like the way she does, and write songs and tell stories. And after that, it just kind of became a different life for me. And I worked on my stage fright, and got into college.
How'd that work?
So I applied for this competition, which is the Women Who Rocks organization I think it was in Pittsburgh, yeah. And I got to be a finalist. And after I went there, which was super, super scary for me, it was like a showcase and stuff, and I had to sing one of my songs. After that, I was so inspired by all the contestants there and just like the whole organization in general and myself. I was like, I can't keep feeling like this. Like, I'm pulling teeth every time I go out and perform because this is something I love. But it's also like, then I hate it because it's like, I dread it, but then I love it. And then I take some time off and I'm like, I can't do it. So after a long war with myself, I said, okay, this next year, it's my senior year. I'm going to have 60 live performances.
Wow.
And make myself do like 60 shows so I can try to get better at performing and more natural. And yeah, I did. I think I ended up doing like 100 or something. It was very fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
That's
I liked
cool.
it more like every time, and it was much more automatic and fun. And so yeah.
So tell me about your songwriting process. What does that look like for you?
I'm someone that writes, I feel like, very chaotically, or it could be organically, but I always think it's kind of messy. I don't have a particular way. A lot of songs I write are probably something I've written in my journal.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of deeper songs.
Yeah, I love writing in my journal. I love journaling. I've always been a very reflective person who wrote and did not really speak about feelings, so writing has always been my way of communicating. And I Yeah, so it either sparks from a line or a lot of the times conversations I have with people. The title track on the EP was inspired by my best friend who she just told me, like, the guy she was dating at the time, she just told me about all these romantic things and their first date, and they like kissed in the rain and it was amazing. And my gut reaction to that was like, okay, he's hiding something. Like, it can't be that perfect. He's hiding something.
No storybook endings for you.
No. And so that's what Miss Paranoia is inspired by, that conversation. So I just feel like it's always different. I also read a lot. That's very inspiring. I kind of picture movies when I write, so that gears a lot of my writing styles. I think I see mini movies in my head, or mini book little chapters kind of things. So yeah, that's where I gain a lot of my inspiration, and kind of my writing process is just things I write down or things I see in art that just inspires me.
So you started that during the pandemic, you said?
Yes.
And
that's when I started seriously.
5 years later, where do you think you've grown in your songwriting?
I think before 5 years ago, I loved writing about other people's stories, but I don't think I ever wrote about my own.
It's easy to write other people's stories sometimes.
It's so easy to write other people's stories. I did not want to talk about myself or be vulnerable or say anything that could be like misunderstood about who I am and like all that I stand for and all that. I don't know what I had in my head, but after I wrote the 5 songs for the EP in LA, I got to go out for a week, which was so much fun.
In LA?
Yes.
That's fun.
It was so much fun. I took my mom. My mom's like my best friend. We went. I felt like Miley Cyrus. I was in a crew neck, but it still counts. But yeah, I'm also gluten-free. So there's this gluten-free donut shop that we found, and I would just eat donuts and drink coffee and write songs all day, and
That's the way to do it.
It was so fun. It was the best time of my life. I didn't have to go to school. Like, it was amazing. And after LA, like, I think that sparked a new inspiration. I think that was the first time I was ever really honest in my songs, and it's taught me so much about just kind of, even, you can pull inspiration from other things, but finding my truth in that. And I don't know, I think I learned a lot about myself through my songs, and actually writing about my own experiences and what I thought was true, and not really caring about how, maybe other people wouldn't agree or the way it would come off, and just kind of speaking my truth in that. So yeah.
So you went to LA. Was that your first time in LA?
It was, I think we went like when I was younger for like a family vacation, but that was like my first time there for like, music.
Sure.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was so much fun. It was really fun. I remember like we did the rental car thing, and we were supposed to get a mystery car, and it was kind of like, what does that mean? Like, it was going to be a pickup truck, but we got this like very nice car. So like we were riding around, and it was really fun. Me and my mom had a lot of fun that trip. It was very much girls' time.
Was that for a studio recording?
Yeah, it was like
your first time doing that?
Yeah, it's like it was kind of like an at-home studio, but like there's a little couch, and I would just sit down there, and the producer I work with, Phil, who is just so incredible and has taught me so much over the years. We used to do Zoom writing sessions first because he lived in the UK, and so we would like find time to do that during the day.
So how'd you find them?
Actually, very like literally fate. It was a very crazy situation where my dad happened to be sitting next to this guy on a plane. Very sketchy.
Really?
Very sketchy, yeah. And his name was Matt, and he was actually an A&R, but I don't think my dad knew that because he is bad. He's afraid of flying, so he was just yapping his ear off. And he happened to show him one of the songs that I had been on, or just me singing, and he was like, yeah, like, stay in contact. And then a year later, I was writing and I was performing, and I think I sent him my song and my video, just taking a whim, and just, like, hey, just in case you wanted to look at it. And that sparked a lot of things, that just like writing Zoom sessions, and like that's kind of my journey with recording music and releasing it all started there, and the connection with Phil. So yeah, that's been really incredible, and I've been so grateful that it was just so random, and it really was like the first time that I thought I could do this, and that somebody else, you know, thought it was cool and it was good enough, and the stuff that I was writing again in my bedroom was, you know, something worth listening to and putting out, and I'm very grateful for that.
It's crazy what happens on planes.
It is. It is.
I was at Nashville for the Josie Music Awards last year, and because I got nominated and whatever.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Not to brag.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And I was on my way back, and for whatever reason, they took me to Florida to get back to PA.
Okay.
Which is an odd choice.
Yeah.
But I sat next to this guy. He was like, it was during that time where there was a hurricane and like, I forget what the name was, but it was like the North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Where they got hit really bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he was a tree worker there, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we do music here all the time. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're gonna fly by the Hotel Rock that's like shaped like a guitar." And as he said that, we literally flew by the guitar,
crazy.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's actually a guitar building."
That's so crazy. Yeah.
And we still keep in contact, and
yeah.
you know, when I get to Florida, because I want to go down there when it's not 1,000,000 degrees.
Yes. Yes.
Like it is currently
it's
here in Pennsylvania.
Insane.
You know what's fun? I actually moved out to PA to get away from the heat.
Really?
I did. I lived in Salisbury, Maryland.
Okay.
So it's like 30 minutes west of Ocean City.
Yeah.
It's all humid and hot there all year round. And
yeah.
I didn't have any plan for college, so I went to Lancashire, PA, because I went to Lancashire Bible College because they had a great music program.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna be great. I have family in Pittsburgh. It always snows over there. And it's going to be snowy and cold all year round. And I was sorely disappointed when it was just as humid, if not more, with no source of water.
Yeah.
Than like the whole peninsula.
Oh my gosh.
I was angry. I'm still here though.
We're surviving.
We are surviving, slowly but surely, with all the AC in the world.
Yes.
And a fan that's literally behind the camera.
It's nice in here, yeah.
It is nice in here. So, you go to LA, you record these things. I've noticed it's a collection of songs, not really like a concept. Is that something that you want to get into, like concept writing, or?
I don't know. I'm somewhere, like, I really adore Taylor Swift's storytelling with the different albums and the different eras. I'm someone that pictures my songs like a little storybook, I guess, and just chapters of my life. I am really open for anything with music in these next few years. I definitely want to release some more music that feels more like me now. I feel like I've grown a lot in the 3 years since I wrote those songs. But yeah, I'm ready to write anything. I love writing about, there's been a few times I got to try to write for film and stuff, and that's my favorite. I like to read the books and like get into the story. So I really love storytelling, and it's really cool that I get to do it as myself as well. And yeah. Well,
should we get into some of your music?
Sure, yeah.
I think so. Speaking of the title track, or the EP, Miss Paranoia, should we start off with the title track?
We can for sure start off with the title track, yeah. So you got the background and everything?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Is there anything else you want to mention before we play it?
No, this one is just kind of me admitting to some of my pessimism and being okay with it, and I think that's what I want everyone else to kind of feel. It's like the ending of a movie, kind of that's all I got.
Let's take a listen to Miss Pessimistic. Just a Miss Paranoia. Well, that certainly was Miss Paranoia, but it was just the instrumentals.
That was just the instrumentals.
That's okay. We're gonna figure out a way really quickly to find it on Spotify and do it that way, and we will be doing that right now. So here's actually what it sounds like.
Miss Paranoia lyrics.
Miss Paranoia with
1, 2, 3,
lyrics.
go.
Here we go.
I know he's hiding, know he's hiding, know he's hiding something. He has it coming, now he's running from me. Oh, he's so pretty and so nice. Maybe it's paranoia, I'm making something from nothing. People think I am crazy, I still think he's hiding something. Oh, he's so pretty and so nice, but I'd rather die than get a love back. I'm Miss Paranoia, she's in my head, she's in my head, and she will destroy her promises, promises. 'Cause I'm Miss Paranoia, she's in my head, she's in my head. You won't get close 'cause you don't know who you're dealing with. My friends think he's so great, but I just think he's up to something. That's why I hesitate, don't need the proof, I'd rather get away, get away. It's been 3 years since anybody's been worth tolerating. I just think that guy's emotionally deprecating, though he's so pretty and so nice, but I'd rather die than get a love back. I'm Miss Paranoia, she's in my head, she's in my head, and she will destroy her promises, promises. 'Cause I'm Miss Paranoia, she's in my head, she's in my head. You won't get close 'cause you don't know who you're dealing with. I'm Miss Paranoia in my head, in my head. I think I'm better with her, 'cause she's my friend, she's my friend.
And that was Miss Paranoia.
Yes.
It was. It's a wonderful song.
Thank you.
Yes,
When I was
it's
said
very
and
catchy to
done,
me.
I lost
And I like catchy things.
Amazing.
So,
Perfect.
works out perfectly. So, tell me, you play guitar.
I do.
That wasn't a lot of guitar in there.
Mhm.
Tell me about that process and how you developed the song into a studio version as opposed to like a live version.
Yeah. So actually, me and guitar have a complicated relationship.
I've heard.
I'm self-taught.
Really?
Yeah. That was another thing with the stage fright. I taught myself how to play guitar. I think
Mhm.
4 years ago, maybe now. For songwriting and also as a way to get up on stage and feel like I had a little more stability.
Sure.
So me and guitar are getting better every day, but I would not say I'm a guitar hero by any means at all. So yeah, that song, actually we wrote all of the songs. If not, Grocery List was written on a Zoom session, I think a few months before, but we wrote all those songs. I had 5 days in LA and every day was a new song.
Ooh.
And we wrote and recorded all of them on that trip. So Miss Paranoia was the last song we did, and we wrote and finished it on the last day of the trip, and it was so very magical. I feel like it did feel like the ending of a movie of my like blissful week eating donuts and drinking coffee and sitting on a couch writing songs all day. So yeah, that song, I remember by the day 5 of the writing and everything, Phil had started I think he came up with that chord progression, and he started some like loose bones of a production, and I came in and we just started brainstorming ideas. And something I really thought was so cool about our writing process then is he's big on his process is like, okay, let's go for a walk, let's go for tea,
Sure.
let's go get coffee, and let's just talk about life, and we'll find something in that. So again, yeah, that day I think we walked and we like got tea or something, or just, you know, sat around for a second and we're just talking about life. And we had that track, obviously, and then I had been telling him just about my life and some romance and my views on that at the age I was, and how I just was very pessimistic and was okay with it. Like I'm fine with it. So that's how that started, and we finished it that day and recorded it, and it was really fun. We did some gang vocals where we were just yelling, and I remember we had this idea of, you know, like, he's hiding something and this is like my alter ego. And when we landed on Miss Paranoia, like, just the visual of like a pageant queen like waving like, hey, I'm crazy a little bit, but it's cool, like, just popped up. Yeah, no, it was
safe.
yeah, yes, that's exactly what my reasoning was. So yeah, it was really cool and it was so fun, and it was just like, I had so much fun writing, and it was really amazing. It felt very movie-esque, and each day was a new vibe, and yeah.
So question, you said he created this chord progression?
He did, yes.
So this was just lines on a page before then? Or was that the writing session there?
Yeah, no, the writing sessions for all of these songs except Grocery List were concepts I already had, or some like some lyrics that, like, you know, we pulled from, but like the songs, the creations, and the finished products, like, we all did in those 5 days. Yeah,
that is so interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot, and I was so tired after, but it was so peaceful. I was like, I'm so happy with what we did here.
No, that's awesome. That's an entirely foreign concept to me, as I play piano.
Yeah.
And I must have control of everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm very specific. Although I have been getting more open to having some sort of producer. Yeah. But it's still scary.
It is scary. I had been, like I said, I'd been working with Phil for about probably 6 months or more since then, but it did take a lot of trust. It's so different from writing with yourself and having these ideas, and I feel like a lot of the time before this trip I was so attached to these ideas and what they were, and I didn't have a lot of open-mindedness for change and growth. And he really taught me how to, you know, that whole trip we just spent so much time, like, both of us editing, like, both of our lines, or like he had a tweak and then I would go back in. It was like a little surgery, but it was so fun, and I don't know, the songs would not be the same without that process. And I definitely had to let go of a lot of my like, you know, like, I don't know, but we scratched things and we rewrote, and yeah, it was super rewarding to see something that it really did feel like, because there'll be songs that I'll write in like 10 minutes, and then I'm like, you know, and a lot of the times I do, and I've talked to other songwriters about this, like, we'll write a song and we're like, this is the best thing in the world, like, literally, where's my Grammy? And then, you know, a few days go by and you give it time and it's like, okay, like, I can do better than that. And I always think that writing a lot of songs is really cool, because you can figure out which ones like stand the test of time, and choose. Yeah, but with that, it was really cool, and I've always really, you know, loved those songs, and I'm glad they grew with me. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's something interesting to me, like growing with a song, because there are certainly songs that I've written years ago that I can't relate to anymore. Yeah. Or you know, granted, most of these songs you have said that they're written about somebody else. Yeah. Or somebody else's story. Yeah. So I feel like that's a little bit different, but I'm still sure there's songs that you have written that aren't released that you may not feel as, I don't know if I feel the same as this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's beauty in that too. I think sometimes
it's good. Yeah, it's good to have growth.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, as long as it relates to somebody else, it doesn't have to relate to me, as long as there's truth in it for other people. Yeah, I definitely have songs like that. Of course I do. Like, or, you know, sometimes like I said, like songwriting kind of is my therapy, and it's the way I process things and move through the world. So there's definitely been songs that I've just written that at the time I was like, oh, this is really good and this is so true, but it was definitely true to me in a way that I don't know if it was so universal, because it was so you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, we're gonna get
So
to this
specific.
point. Yeah, we're gonna get to this point where I've talked too much and then I can't talk.
No, that's
I
fine.
don't know English.
But I get that as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that there's definitely going to be some songs that I release in the future that aren't going to be my absolute truth, but they're going to be fun. They're going to be, somebody else can relate to them, and that's kind of what I do it for. So.
Yeah, there's a song I'm actually, and speaking of co-writing, do you know Carrie Edwards at all?
I don't think
That
so.
is a good woman to look into if you're looking for like songwriting stuff, because I've been songwriting with her for about a year now, I guess.
Yeah.
And she loves to nitpick and like go in there and like search, like we could use this word instead of that word, or yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I hated her for the first. I was like, I don't know if I want to write with you again. I didn't like this process.
Yeah.
But the song did turn out better than what it was.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try it again.
Yeah.
So,
I love both sides. I love just writing. Like, me and my friends, oh my gosh, talk about Berklee and going to a music school. Like, you're constantly.
Yes, we will get there. Yes.
Yeah, like we're just writing and having fun, but sometimes it's just, had a hard day of music theory and you just need to write for fun, and it's you don't have to be as nitpicky, and sometimes those are the best songs though.
Oh yeah.
Like
1,000%.
that you just don't think about, but yeah.
No, and where I was going with that is that we're currently writing a song about an incident that I had that made me think of an utterly horrible scenario. I cut my toe on the bathroom shower somehow.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got no clue. I don't know. And I'm the kind of guy that's like, ow, my toe hurts. I'm not gonna like look at it because my toe just hurts. It's whatever. But my girlfriend, I was at my girlfriend's house, and I was starting to. I looked down and I'm like, oh, there's blood on the carpet. Where'd that come from? Megan, help! And she was like, yes. That's you. And I'm like, oh no, I've got blood on your carpet. What do I do? And she's just like, just wipe it up, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you so calm about this? And she's like, well, I go through it every month. And I'm like, okay, I'll just wipe. I'll shut up. Okay. And so I'm like sitting there and I'm wiping out the blood out of the carpet once again. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting song.
Yeah.
And I have had a lot of relationships in the past that specifically they dealt with suicidal ideation and like cutting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, what if we make this really, I'm not gonna say powerful, but like hard hitting, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Hard hitting song of like this journey of this girl who is having all these problems, and she just decides to do it once, then she does it multiple times, and then she does it for the last time.
Wow.
And goes too far.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like I'm wiping out the blood, and then the last chorus, the idea is like, and they're wiping up the blood now.
Yeah.
Because she's like, gone.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And so I'm like writing that with Carrie. And that's been a joy for me because I get to see like a woman's perspective on that. And I know that's typically been like the female experience of, or at least from my perspective, I've never had that kind of ideation. I've seen a lot of women that I know go through it, whether it be bullying or, they have, what is it called? They're self-conscious about their bodies or whatever else have you. And Carrie has a speciality in this too. And so it's really fun. I don't mean to say fun, but really interesting to explore that dynamic.
Yeah.
And she just has a really lovely voice, and I think you should meet her.
I would love to.
Really
that sounds. Yeah,
connect
she
over
sounds
Facebook or something.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyway, speaking of this kind of talk, let's give you a lifeline.
Yeah.
And talk about that song.
Yeah. Well, what a transition.
Yes. King of Segways over here.
Yeah. Lifeline is a song we wrote. I was I wasn't jet lagged, just 3-hour difference. But I had just been on the plane, and we it was raining in LA so much the time that I visited. It was in November of 2022, I believe. And we were talking, and we wwe talking about musicians and you know, the journey of that. And just I think at the time I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do for college yet, and schooling, and where my life was going. And we wrote a song just kind of about like the trials and tribulations of being a young artist, and the confusing, just but
It's a weird time.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah,
But
between like high school and
and
adult world.
just being an artist and a creative is always just
Especially as an artist,
and trying to make a living, but also it's like your art. So it was just, we were talking about that, and it was kind of written about that. But a year ago, as I was playing it around, it was my senior year, and of course everyone had an opinion on where I should go and like what I should do with my life. And everyone that I was talking to, all my friends, you know, we were having just the same conversations of that, but also we were trying to have a good senior year before everything had changed. And it kind of became a song about that. It just like, you know, it's a new time, and it's upsetting, but it's also like, you know, you gotta find the beauty in it and the silver linings. And yeah, that's kind of my take on that.
Let's take a listen to Lifeline.
Perfect.
When all was said and done, I lost a part of me. 'Cause I was chasing dreams like their reality. I wish somebody told me that it was only the start of this fantasy. Why did nobody tell me that everybody would tell me who I'm meant to be? I've got no time to cry. I'll be alright. I've been wanting this for all my life. I'll know the time to say goodbye. But I'll just sit here waiting for a lifeline. Even though my friends play nice, I know they're doubting me. Their words don't mean enough to give me dopamine. I wish somebody told me that it was only the start of this fantasy. Why did nobody tell me that everybody would tell me who I'm meant to be? I've got no time to cry. I'll be alright. I've been wanting this for all my life. I'll know the time to say goodbye. But I'll just sit here waiting for a lifeline. I'm just waiting for a lifeline. I'm just waiting for a lifeline.
And that was Lifeline.
Yeah.
By you.
That
Maggie
is
Marre.
by me, yes. And it is out now, if anybody wants to listen to it.
It is out now on all the platforms.
All of them.
All of them. Even Pandora. I checked.
There you go. The more you know.
The more you know. Anyway, you go to Berklee.
I do go to Berklee.
Which is in Boston.
It is.
That's a far drive.
It's a very far drive, especially when your dad is not the best driver. No hate. No hate.
That is really funny.
I'm sorry.
Because I also drove part of the way to Boston, and it was not a fun drive as well.
It's
dark,
crazy up there. Yeah.
And sometimes on the highways up there, they don't have those like little reflectors that are in like the lanes.
Yeah.
And especially when it's like raining, as it is typical to do, and
yeah. New
it's not
England.
fun.
It's not. It's not. I do love my dad though, but I'll take the train. I've
That's really funny.
I've taken the train a few times, and
I wouldn't
it's
trust
fun.
my dad to drive either.
He drives Oh, he drives. It's just like it's a little.
It's a little. Oh,
I
let's
get
grab
car
this
sick,
and-
so it's yes. It's always I'm just a little high maintenance in that way.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So it's acceptable.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Gotta keep getting this.
I'm gonna tell the time that I went to Boston because I think it's a funny story. I switched. I like April Fool's Day. It's one of my favorite holidays. Whatever.
Oh my.
And I switched my birthday on Facebook to April 1st.
Oh.
Yeah, I did this a few months beforehand because I already planned this out.
Okay.
And so I had two friends, both girls that were in the music program. One's a saxophone player, one's a violin player. Wonderful ladies. And they said, you know what, Corey, your birthday's coming up.
Mhm.
We should all do something. It's going to be on Easter vacation or Easter or spring break or whatever it was.
Yeah.
One of the two. My college did both.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, what should we do? Maybe we could go to Boston. And I'm like, you know what? I've never been to Boston. I think that sounds like a wonderful idea.
I do too.
And it's really funny because my friend had her birthday, and she got really upset that her roommate didn't know it was her birthday or didn't say happy birthday. Like, she was like, true friends should really know when their birthdays are.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah. True friends should totally know when each other's birthdays are. So about this April 1st trip. When are we doing this? And they were like, yeah, we're doing this. And I'm like, great. So we all get in the car. All get one of their cars. And we head up. And it's like it's like my birthday eve. As it were. It's like May 31st, I think. I'm not that great with months. And it turns 12 o'clock, and they're like, oh, happy birthday, Corey. Happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, I got a confession to make. And they were like, what is it? It's not my birthday. And they pulled over. They were like, no. On Facebook, it said April 1st was your birthday. And I said, no. It's not.
Oh my gosh.
And they said, pull out your driver's license right now.
Oh my gosh.
They ID'd me. And my birthday is September 28th.
Oh.
So a
Not
hard
even
miss.
close.
Yeah, not even close. There's not even
in the
like
same.
no, that's like 6 months.
Yeah.
That's like literally the other side of the year.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And they were mad at me the whole rest of the drive. And they wouldn't let. I had to pay some extra stuff because I felt really bad. Although we did have a wonderful time in Boston. We went to the aquarium.
Yeah.
We saw Paul Revere's house.
Yeah.
And all the touristy things.
Yes.
It was very fun. But we did also rack up $200 in tolls, and I said never again.
You know what? I'm glad you went though.
I am
You got
glad
the
we went.
experience.
It was an experience. I probably won't go again, but you'll go again.
I will. Yes.
Tell me about this. How did you get to Berklee?
How did I train, the drive? No,
Well,
my
no,
journey.
Your journey.
Yeah.
What was your application? What was your essay like? No, I was kidding.
Oh.
You don't have to go into that too.
I actually my first interaction with Berklee was, I think it was almost 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I went to their songwriting camp, which is 5 days. I've always wanted to go to like a sleepover summer camp. And it was perfect because it's like a music school summer camp. And I got to stay in the dorms. And I met so many incredible people there. It was the first time I felt like I was around so many creative people in like one space. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you get me. And yeah, it was 5 days of just music and jamming. And there were little mock classes kind of thing. Like we had master classes and all these things. And I fell in love with the atmosphere there. And I also loved the city. I felt
the city is really nice.
It's so beautiful.
Minus
and
the driving. Yes.
And I feel like I'm somebody that gets very easily distracted. So it's kind of manageable there. It's not like New York City is gorgeous, but it's very
a lot.
overstimulating. Yeah. So I really loved it. And so when, college apps came around, I applied and I really hoped I got in. And yeah, I did. I made my best friend open it because I was like, I don't think I got in. And she opened it. And that's how I got there.
So explain what are the classes like there? They're obviously high quality classes. And what specifically is your major?
I just declared as a songwriting with a concentration in performance.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Talk about the classes. Did you do a lot of gen eds first? I imagine.
So yeah, we had just required classes the first semester. So things like ear training, my favorite, and we had MAT, which is like music theory and application. Just
All the boring stuff.
yeah,
All the really
yeah,
hard.
yeah. So
I hate ear training.
ear training is a necessary evil, but man,
yes.
it just gets harder like every semester. Yes. Yeah. And I play instruments and I've played them by ear and taught myself, but it's a different level, I think. So somebody that hasn't had a lot of music theory, it was definitely like, sink or swim kind of situation. But yeah, we had like a seminar lens class, which was cool, and we wrote a lot of essays for that, which I like writing essays, so it was fine.
Hey, more power to you.
Yeah.
I do not.
I'm trying to think back to first semester. What other? We had like introduction to like a DAW kind of thing, like to Logic Pro class.
Is that something you want to get more into, like producing on your own?
I would love to just be able to even produce my own demos, which I think I kind of can now. I've always just recorded my own vocals for things and sent them over Zoom and email and stuff. But yeah, I definitely just being able to have a solid demo is definitely a goal of mine.
It's a good step up.
Yes.
From not having a demo.
Of course. And I do have like a creative vision for production, so I think it helps a lot to have that kind of laid out. And yeah, and I had a voice lesson too that was like technically a class, and we had a final and everything, and it was a little scary. But
juries and it.
Yes, yeah.
I almost got kicked out because of I was a percussion focus.
Yeah.
With the composition on the side.
Uh-huh.
I'm not the greatest percussionist.
Okay.
Or I shouldn't say that. I'm not the greatest practicer.
Practicing is such a different thing.
It is.
I need to be more disciplined. I try to be a good practicer, but I totally understand that.
I was an awful practicer. Like I have typically been a person that was able to just like pick stuff up right in rehearsal and like just do whatever it had to do. I was more mallet percussion kind of thing. And that's all I've done for like high school. But this was a different beast. And I wasn't probably ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wasn't because I almost got kicked out of the program. But my composition saved me.
There you go.
So I liked doing that. I didn't like doing the percussion bit.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of different areas that a lot of my friends and I sometimes will be like, do we need to be doing this? Like, we're like, but I think so. I think it's going to make us all better musicians. And yeah, it's just, theory is very mathy. I'm not a math mind, but we're learning and we're getting through it, and it's a great school, and I've had so much fun this year, so
that's good.
Yeah, makes up for it.
What's next?
Well, I do have my next year at Berklee. I'm very excited to be back. Got my own apartment and everything.
Oh, really?
Yes, we had to get an apartment because of housing and stuff, but I'm super excited to be living.
Work is expensive.
It is. It is. Yes, but yeah, me and my roommate, who was actually random, and she's my best friend. She's amazing.
That's wonderful.
Shout out Ella. She's gonna watch that now. Yeah, she's amazing. She's credible. She's everyone there. It's so very inspiring. They're all so good, and I just love like being around that. So yeah, and my other friend and I we're all rooming together, which will be so fun. But there's actually a little like written thing in the contract that we're not allowed to sing and like super loud and practice instruments in this apartment.
Really?
because we're Berklee students, and we definitely would be doing that.
That's funny, but fair.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm writing.
Put your blanket over your head like you did.
Exactly. I'm well practiced in that.
Full circle.
Yeah, but I want to get I definitely want to play these songs out that I released. I'm playing some cool places this summer. I'll be at the Hard Rock Cafe in August, and that's the one in Philly. I definitely some live performances. I'm writing. I'm working on co-writing with people. So yeah, this next chapter is kind of just figuring out more who I am as an artist, as a songwriter, and a student. And yeah, I'm just super excited to, have new experiences and to write about them and to share and connect with people. Yeah.
let's listen to the last song that you gave us called Grocery List.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will have some questions I like to ask all my guests, and we'll wrap it up there.
Perfect.
Tell me about Grocery List.
Grocery List. Grocery List started as a very lengthy song that I wrote about somebody leaving like a grocery list on a counter, and I brought it to Phil, and we turned it into a very delusional song about a workplace romance.
It's a very delusional song.
One thing about me is that I'm always going to be delusional, and I support it. You know, there's some realism to it. At least I'm aware of
There's
it.
a point to be
Of course, yeah.
a certain amount of delusional.
I'm just a girl. I like to have some fun.
Just a girl.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Grocery List was very much a just a girl moment, and it's about workplace romance and in a local grocery store, small town. Very much relate to it, when you're at work, and I'm just kind of a lot of times when I'm at work, I'm just kind of dreaming of music and what I want to do when I get out. So it's about that, and it's the awareness of it and just having fun.
Let's take a listen to Grocery List. And that was Grocery List.
Grocery List.
That was Grocery List.
Yeah.
Well, I have some questions to ask you.
I'm ready.
Are you sure?
I hope so.
I hope so. Yes, indeed. So, what is one of the funniest or most embarrassing things that's ever happened to you on stage?
Oh my.
Yeah, how about that one?
dad heckles me a lot sometimes for his
Really?
amusement. Yes.
That's kind of funny.
It is funny. It's not as funny when people don't know he's my dad.
That's
because
terrifying.
they're like, who is this? Like, no. But one time, I don't know, I just hit my head on the mic a lot, actually. Like, I'll bend down to grab a sip of water, and there's a picture of me literally, like, getting bonked with the mic. So.
Oh. You know what I think?
What?
I think we didn't hear grocery line.
Really?
I think so. You know what? Should we do it again?
If you want to.
I will edit this in post.
Okay.
And you will send me the grocery list, and we will figure it out then.
Perfect.
All right. How about this? What is one of the things that you hope to grow in further? What is one of the techniques that you would like to expand upon?
I think definitely like my musicianship and like guitar playing, and I do have an electric guitar. I'm waiting to be able to completely shred on it, but
Really?
we're still I would love to be able to expand on that, and just confidence and stage presence is something I'm constantly working at, and having fun. I think sometimes I take myself a little too seriously, and it's the point is just having fun, and I do bring back to like me and my girls do have a lot of fun together, and it's like when they're in the crowd, it's the most fun ever because I'm kind of like singing to them and we're all in it. So kind of channeling that energy more, and just there's always ways to improve, and I'm ready to, you know, discover different ways that I can grow my songwriting and artistry. And I do think performing though is the next step for me that I've struggled with just because of the stage fright and stuff, and it's gotten so much better. But
Definitely, because the way the most practical, efficient way, in my opinion, to gain more fans and get more notoriety is to play out.
Yeah.
That's the only way. I mean, sure, you can use TikTok and whatever else, but it's, with so much output from all sorts of creators all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to get noticed.
Very true.
And the best way to get noticed is in person, because then you can actually go talk to the person.
Yeah.
Is that something you suffered with? Because you said during the break that you're kind of introverted. Do you struggle going up to talk to people after you perform?
I feel like I, in the past, was like super introverted, had a lot of social anxiety over the years, and I think singing has helped me a lot with this. And I took acting classes, and I did some like improv stuff. Yeah. I've learned to kind of like switch out of it. I definitely still need my downtime, and I definitely have my moments, but I do genuinely, I'm a yapper.
A yapper?
I love talking to people.
Oh,
I love
great.
getting to know people. That's how I connect. I love just like listening and stuff. So I do think there was a time where it was a lot for me, and it was so scary, and sometimes it still is. It like depends on the day and the person, but I've gotten much better with that, and I do at the end of the day, like I just love connecting with people and getting to know people. So I think that's one of the things that it's one of my strengths, and I like that through my music too.
There you go.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you would like to write about that you haven't yet?
Wow. Oh my. That's a good question.
Thank you. I made it myself.
I know. I'm trying to think. I would love to say like, oh, I've written about everything, but I don't think that's true.
I think it's almost impossible.
Of course, it's impossible. A thing at Berklee that they do a lot is, you write about like an inanimate object, like from that point of view. I think that kind of stuff is cool. Yeah, I would love to, I don't know, like just find a niche concept. And I love when songs, I think Lizzie McAlpine does a really good job of this, or, like the title, it's like, what could this be about? Like soccer practice, like what is this about? And she finds just a way to like tell the story that's just like Olivia Rodrigo does a good job of like her concepts, like trade, or just things you haven't thought of, but it perfectly describes the situation. I love songs like that, and I think finding ways to just like Driver's
License.
Yeah,
that was
it's
what
like,
got me into Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah, or just random titles that it's like, what could this be about? Like, and it's just like a basic thing, and just how could we make a concept out of this? And then they do, and it's like, oh my gosh, that makes perfect sense, and I'm sobbing on the floor right now. Like, wow,
right.
Like, that's incredible. Like, I love things like that. I also would love to just write some more fun and silly, goofy songs. I love Sabrina Carpenter's music because it's just a vibe, and I think it's hard for me to do that acoustically on my guitar, but
Yes.
finding ways to just write some fun songs, and yeah.
Would you ever switch to any other instrument?
Yeah, for sure.
What instrument would you like to play?
I play a little piano. I want to learn how to learn. What?
Oh,
I want to learn how to learn. Yeah, maybe. I want to learn how to play bass.
Bass guitar.
Yes, that would be cool.
That sounds fun. It is fun though. I have a bass guitar.
Oh, what I really do I want to learn how to play drums.
Really?
Yeah, I have the most confidence in the world. I think I can fully sit down and play drums.
That is hard.
It is hard. Completely.
Let's go right over to the
No.
other room.
I can't play drums. It's just, like, I would love to, and I think it's really cool. And it's so, you talk about dictation and rhythm and ear training. Like, I am not great at the rhythm. So, yeah, that would be a journey. But I think drums are very cool.
Start working on your limb independence.
Sure. Whatever that means.
Doing multiple things differently with each limb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but you think about it, you're using both feet, you're using both hands.
Multitasking, yeah.
You're trying to breathe.
Yeah.
And you're trying to reach all these different things.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I can fake playing drums extremely well because that's been my whole entire life.
Yeah.
If you ask me to do anything like upwards towards punk and metal,
Mm-hmm.
good luck. I'm not.
Yeah.
But I could play easy rock and roll songs all day.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool.
It is really fun. And then you could be a multi-instrumentalist.
Exactly. And I could be a one-woman show. Just hop from one thing to... No, that would be a mess.
That would be a mess.
Yeah. But
it'd be interesting, though. It'd be interesting, like, if you got, like, a looper or something.
I've seen people that do that, and I think it's so
cool. I think
cool.
that's really cool.
It's really cool.
Too technical for my brain to handle.
I think so, too. Well, not you.
Me.
No, me. I'm not.
You.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
No, I don't think I could either.
I would sit there, do the first loop, maybe do it okay, and then go to the next one and then screw it up, and then oh wait, hold on, I gotta actually get this correct.
Yeah.
That's like some of the things like at Berklee, people are like experimenting with that kind of stuff, and it's
really incredible.
Do you ever feel like imposter syndrome when you go there?
I think definitely. I've had a hard opinion on that for sure. I mean, all the time, like, that happens in this industry. I think there, though, I really have felt inspired by people. Okay. And I always believe there's room for everyone, and the people there are just so cool. But definitely in terms of musicianship and theory and all that, everyone is just insanely talented. There's people with perfect pitch, or that they'll do these chord progressions. It's wait, I can't even wrap my head around it. This guy on my floor, he was such a sweetheart. His name is Micah. He's from Canada. Shout out Micah too. He would always do these crazy guitar parts, and it's how are you even doing that? There's just,
how'd you break your fingers to
oh my gosh,
reach?
There would be jams in the lounge 24 hours, and I would go down there for 10 minutes. There's a full band with a violin and all these things and a mandolin, and I'm like, you guys are incredible. It's very cool. So I really did feel inspired, and the city was inspiring, and I definitely always there's moments of doubt and what am I doing with my life, and I don't know if I'm good enough for this or whatever, but I think I've been really grateful to feel just a lot of inspiration and pride in the people that I'm surrounded by.
Well, where can people find you at?
People can find me at Maggie Marre, Marre, on all social medias. And yeah, my EP, Miss Paranoia, is out on all streaming platforms. I really hope you guys like it. And yeah, it's been a great talking to you, Corey.
It's been great having you on the show.
Thank
you. Despite the little awkward technical difficulties.
Yeah, we pivoted, so.
That's okay. Well, this has been The Story with Corey, and I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all the things that help both of us, and share it so that way other people can learn about Maggie Marre.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we will see you at some point. We are planning the next Story Awards for September 27th. It's going to be / my birthday. Since we talked about it.
A real birthday.
My real birthday, which is September 28th. Every year, I like to grab a few of the people that were on the show and showcase them. It's kind of like a variety show and hand out not stupid awards, but awards,
Yeah.
just for fun.
Yeah.
And we usually do it on April because April is the anniversary of the podcast.
Aw.
But this year, I decided to make a birthday bash out of it too because I want to have fun on my birthday.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So you can expect that to be here at the SRCC, where we also have open mics every Wednesday, 7 to 11, sometimes later if you like. And I think that's it.
Cool.
With all that said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.